I just bought a new Acela HHP-8 locomotive and a New Jersey Transit F40PH. This HHP-8 is the first locomotive in my roster that I now have two of. Unfortunately, I can't run the other one because it doesn't work anymore, so this one is actually replacing it. The New Jersey Transit F40PH is the second locomotive in my system that I now have two of. Unfortunately, they can't run together because the first one, which is from a different company, has couplers that are too low. These couplers also won't stay connected when running as a double header. The one from Bachman also doesn't have any front couplers because I deemed it too tedious to install them. Because for some reason, these locomotives come with the couplers unscrewed and you have to screw them in, and it's way too difficult for the front couplers on that locomotive. I have footage of these locomotives operating, but first a quick update. This P42, which suffered a rear coupler breakage in a derailment, I finally got a new coupler for it. This time I replaced the plastic coupler it came with a much more sturdy metal coupler. All of the passenger cars that it was pulling also had damaged couplers in the derailment, so I ended up having to replace all of their plastic couplers with metal couplers. And here's a quick video of what that looked like. How to replace these flimsy plastic couplers with metallic couplers. First, there are two screws over here, one on this side and one on this side. These hold the coupler in place. So you have to unscrew these first. Yeah. These Amfleet cars are always giving me issues with decoupling, and I'm pretty sure it's specifically because of these plastic couplers they come with. That's why I'm trying to replace them all with metal ones. Okay. Alright, once you loosen the screws, this piece comes off. And the coupler also comes off as well. Now these couplers I bought have two pieces. This piece goes in first. This really small metal piece. This is very tedious, and it's one of the reasons why I really hate replacing couplers. But yeah, then you put the coupler in. Obviously you put it in upside down because the train car is upside down. And then with both your hands, you need to hold this coupler in place while putting the top back on. So obviously I'm not going to be able to film that. And then once you get this plate back on, just screw them in place. Be careful not to screw them in too tightly, because if you screw them in too tightly, then the coupler won't be able to move freely. Just enough that it'll stay in place. Not too tight. And I'll obviously test the coupler to see if it moves freely before you put it back on the track. Alright, let's put it on the track and see. Couples right up. This one still has plastic couplers on it. Yeah, the metal couplers are a lot stronger. There's actually one flaw I discovered about these metal couplers recently, and that is that those metal hooks underneath them that are supposed to serve as the air hoses, they're too low to the ground, and when going over a switch, I've had a lot of issues where the other section of track, the coupler would get caught underneath it, and then it would push the coupler really quickly all the way to the left, which would cause the train to derail. So I actually ended up having to take some pliers and bend that metal piece upward until it was above the track. But I also found out that if you bend it too far, you can actually break the coupler. So these metal couplers aren't perfect, but they are better than the plastic ones. Okay, I just bought 2 locomotives for my train set. One of them is an HHP-8, and the other one is a New Jersey Transit F40PH. Now, I already have a New Jersey Transit F40PH, but this one, which is from Bachman, has issues with coupler height. See, this one was made for those plastic couplers that are used on train sets, and replacing it with a knuckle coupler, I haven't really had much luck with getting it attached to the trains, so I haven't really been able to use it that much, unfortunately. Come on now, get back on the track. Anyway, yeah, this one, which is from Rapido Trains, comes with knuckle couplers, so I shouldn't have any issues with that. Now, the reason why I got this HHP-8 is because the one that I currently have doesn't work anymore. It doesn't always start up, and it also, I hear a loud grinding noise whenever I try to run it, and it just doesn't, it's not really that powerful anymore. So this locomotive was purchased to replace it. The first thing I'm gonna do is have this train run in double header mode to see if I can even get this second locomotive to pull the train, because it doesn't always see. Sometimes it'll light up, and then as soon as enough power is given to make the motors move, it'll immediately shut off. That's one of the reasons why it's being replaced. See, as soon as there's enough power to move the wheels, it just shuts off. Yeah, and when that happens, it's not even pulling the train. The front locomotive is doing all the work. See that? He has to pull the entire train, including this locomotive, because this one won't work. See that? Yeah, this locomotive can't even pull the train. Okay, now one thing I've always wanted to do was race the HHP-8 against the Acela Express to see which one's faster. Never had the opportunity to do that because I've always only had the HHP-8. But now that I have both of them, it's time to race them. think the HHP-8 is actually slightly faster. Yeah, the HHP-8 is actually a little faster. Alright, now let's try the New Jersey Transit F40PH. And since I also have an Amtrak F40PH from the same company, I'm going to double head it after this. Oh wow, it's got sound? I didn't know that. Interesting. So I found out recently that if a locomotive is equipped with sound, it can still run on a DC layout. It's just that you need a certain amount of voltage to make the sound audible. So what happens if you put it in reverse? Does it have directional headlights too? Oh, it does. Yeah, it looks like on a DC layout, it just automatically goes up to notch 8. Oh, it sounds like it has brake squeal sound effects too. Interesting. Alright, now I have the Amtrak locomotive running behind the New Jersey Transit F40PH. Let's see if they're compatible enough that they can pull this train together. He tries to move before this one is even ready to go. So that's probably not gonna work. Yeah, it looks like he's trying to push the locomotive. Oh wow, one of them derailed. What happened? I guess he tried a little too hard to push this locomotive and ended up pushing himself off the track. Only the front bogie derailed though. Yeah, since this one is not equipped with DCC, but this one is, this one takes a little bit longer and a little bit more voltage in order to get it moving. So this one's already ready to move when this one isn't, and he ends up just pushing it. And I guess they don't have the same top speed either, even though they're both from the same company. So double heading just won't work with these. Okay, I got this New Jersey Transit F40PH on the storage track because it's the only track I have right now that is hooked up to DCC using this device. This device can switch between DC and DCC. So let's change the mode and see what happens. That's interesting. The sound doesn't work when it's on DC. Whoa, shut up. But interestingly, it speeds up and decelerates more realistically in this mode. Let's see. Oh, it's got a bell too. And when you turn the bell on, the strobe lamps flash. Okay, so one is bell. It's also got a horn. Okay, 2 is horn. 3 is longhorn, I guess. Oh, that's interesting. It has a Doppler effect too. What does 0 do? Oh, 0 turns the headlights on and off. So I guess if you put it in reverse, it'll turn this headlight on. Let me check. Did it change direction? Okay, changing the direction doesn't seem to change the headlights at all. It still wants to use this headlight even when I change the direction. Yeah, because that would, okay, what does 4 do? Okay, 4 doesn't seem to have a function. Or 5, or 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 turns the engine on and off. That's why I wasn't hearing it earlier, because it was off. So if I press it again, it'll probably switch the engine off. Interesting. Oh, 9 turns the tail lights on. I don't think the tail lights on the back of this locomotive are real. It looks like they're painted on, which is weird for a locomotive with this many features. What happens if I change the direction? If I change the direction, it still activates the front tail lights only. So you can only change the tail lights in the front. And it looks like it doesn't have rear headlights at all, unfortunately. Don't have a lot of room to test this with, because this is just a storage track. Interesting. So in DC mode, it just goes up to notch 8 no matter what speed you're moving at. In DC mode, it'll actually change notches. Interesting. This is the only locomotive I have in this entire layout that has these features.